Hi everyone, this is Sarah from Japan, and I'm back with another read-along. And today we're going to be reading through Mark 13. And instead of using the name Jesus, because I'm home with my in-laws who persecute me for being a Christian, we're going to use the name Yeshua. Okay. All right. Anyway, so I'm home today. It is the day before my daughter is to be hospitalized for hernia. She's going to get surgery. Hello, Meg.
What?
Yes. All right, and we've packed up pretty much. We've packed up. I don't know if you can see that. It's her bag of stuff there at the hospital, and so I wanted to. I didn't do a video yesterday because we were out, and Saturday I was busy too, so I didn't really have a chance to do one. So I'm doing it today, and hopefully I can catch up a little bit. So on to chapter 13, Mark chapter 13. This is kind of a significant, actually it's a really significant chapter. It talks about the end times, okay, and Jesus himself gives a description of what's going to take place. And also, if you look, you can correlate this chapter with the book of Matthew, okay, Matthew chapter 24, okay, and also Luke 21, also in Thessalonians and in Revelations, all throughout Revelations, and in the book of Daniel and the book of Joel. All right, there's many places that correlate, that talk about the end times, okay? And Mark 13 just happens to be one of them, okay? So let's get started. All right, Yeshua predicts the destruction of the temple. Then as he went out of the temple, one of his disciples said to him, "Teacher, see what manner of stones and what buildings are here." And Jesus, keep quiet about that. And Yeshua answered and said to him, "Do you see these great buildings? Not one stone shall be left upon another, and that shall not be thrown down. The signs of the times and the end of the age." Now as he sat on the Mount of Olives, opposite the temple, Peter, James, John, and Andrew asked him privately, Tell us, when will these things be? And what will be the sign of when all these things will be fulfilled?" So they're asking about the end times here. And Yeshua answered them, and began to say, "Take heed that no one deceives you." Again, this is the very first thing he says. Also in Matthew 24, it's the very first thing he says. Take heed that no one deceives you. Because there's going to be a lot of people out there, and there's going to be a lot of deception. Okay, a lot of people trying to lead you astray, a lot of deception. I'm hearing a lot lately about Project Bluebeam and about aliens and, weird stuff that we're hearing now, okay? And there's a lot of false Christs out there. So we have to be careful. So he says, first and foremost, take heed that no one deceives you. For many will come in my name, saying, I am he, and will deceive many. But when you hear of wars and rumors of wars, gee, that sounds a lot like now, with Syria and Iran and North Korea and like China and Russia jumping in on the bandwagon, messing things up. Yeah, it sounds a lot like war and rumors of war. A lot of saber rattling then going on. Do not be troubled, for such things must happen. Okay? I think in another place in the Bible, I think it's Luke 21, these things must come to pass or whatever. But yeah, for such things must happen. But the end is not yet. This is not the end. Just because there's wars and rumors of wars, it's not the end yet. Okay? It's just before the end. For nation will rise against nation. Okay? And kingdom against kingdom. Kingdom is more like the spiritual kingdom, like the Jews and the Christians and the Muslims and the atheists and, right now with the persecution of the Christians and, and Jews, it's just outrageous right now. We got a big march right now, isn't it, in Washington, D.C.? I don't know, some kind of atheist movement going on? Anyway. So, and there will be earthquakes in various places. Oh, there was an earthquake today. 7.2 in Chile. Wow. Yeah, and there was like a couple days ago, on like 188, it was supposed to be the 188-day mark, and it was the 187th day, and there was a big earthquake in Mexico. Yeah, it was at a 7.4, and, there's just, every day there seems like there's a massive earthquake somewhere. Several of them, So, and there'll be earthquakes in various places. and there will be famines and troubles, and these are the beginnings of sorrows. Okay? But watch out for yourselves, for they will deliver you up to councils, and you will be beaten in the synagogues. You will be brought before the rulers and kings for my sake, for a testimony to them. And the gospel must first be preached to all the nations. It's getting preached to all the nations via missionaries. Missionaries are actually going, and people are actually standing out on the street and preaching the gospel. And then there's other people like me who are using the internet to reach the people. Okay, so it'll be preached. The gospel will be preached to all the nations. But when they arrest you and deliver you up, do not worry beforehand. They're starting to arrest pastors now. Pastors preaching on the streets of America, on the corners of America. They're getting arrested. Because they're offending the Muslims or whatever, offending the atheists or whatever. Anybody else can, the United States is supposed to have freedom of speech, First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and freedom of assembly, and that's all been abolished now, And now it's more like a totalitarian dictator kind of thing going on, Sorry, I've been out of the country for a long time. I'm here in Japan, for those of you who don't know. But anyway, yeah, there's a lot of things going on, and people are getting arrested. People are getting fined in their own homes for having, Bible study in their own homes. It's ridiculous. There is no more freedom of religion. Okay, I have more freedom of religion over here than I would in the United States. Did you know that in Japan, they actually ask me to teach the gospel in their public elementary schools? The birth of Jesus Christ. I hope they didn't hear me that. The birth of Jesus Christ in a Japanese public elementary school. Yeah, I have a nativity scene that I drew on the wall. Yeah, but they sing all the other times they're Buddhists. They do kind of like little prayer chants and stuff sometimes, But yeah, they let me do that. I would never get away with that in the States. Oh, and they let me play a song, too, last week. I played Becca Shea's Love. It's taken from 1 Corinthians 13. They let me do that, so because it's under cultural understanding, so that's pretty cool, though. I mean, I get to preach the gospel, kind of. I have to be careful. I mean, I can't come too heavy on them or I'll get in trouble, but, But anyway, on the same token, though, you could lose your job if you don't teach Halloween in Japan, though. So if they want you to teach about, Christmas, the true story, but then they also want you to teach about Halloween. I managed to go around that. I did fairy tales instead. I won't do Halloween, I'm sorry. But another lady got fired over that. Okay, so anyway. Where was I? And first the gospel must be preached to all the nations, but when they arrest you and deliver you up, do not worry beforehand or premeditate what you will speak. Okay, that's verse 10 and 11. But whatever is given to you in that hour, speak that, for it is not you who speaks, but the Holy Spirit. Now, brother will betray brother to death. Ooh, talk about loyalty here. And father his child, and children will rise up against parents and cause them to be put to death. Yeah. And you will be hated by all for my name's sake, but he who endures to the end shall be saved. The great tribulation. Verse 14. So when you see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet standing where it ought not, the abomination of desolation, standing where it ought not. This is in Daniel, the book of Daniel. Okay? Let the reader understand. By the way, Daniel is Old Testament for those of you who just, learning about the Bible. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let him who is on the housetop not go down into the house, nor take to anything out of his house, and let him who is in the field not go back and get his clothes. But woe to those who are pregnant, and to those who are nursing babies in those days, and pray that your flight may not be in winter, for in those days there will be a tribulation such as not has been since the beginning of the creation. That sounds pretty bad. There will be a tribulation such as has not been has not been. There's never been such a tribulation since the beginning of all creation, which God created until this time. Never ever, nor ever shall be. Even after this, well, there will not be such a tribulation period. Okay? So, I mean, it's going to make, right now, you think it's bad now with no jobs and, people getting maced in the face for protesting and stuff. You think and you're hearing rumors of war, and you think it's bad now? This is going to be a walk in the park, okay, compared to the tribulation. All right? So it's also called the time of Jacob's trouble. Okay? And unless the Lord had shortened these days, no flesh would be saved, but for the elect's sake, whom he chose, he shortened the days. Okay? Then if anyone says to you, "Look, here is the Christ," or "Look, he is there," do not believe it, for false Christs and false prophets will rise and show signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. So they're, the Satan, he's an artful liar, okay, and he can, he can even trick the elect. There's a great falling away right now. Apostasy is happening, and people are going to be getting led astray. The elect are getting led astray by false doctrines, like, this super, grace doctrine, where you can, accept the grace of God, but you don't have to do anything. It's all about Him, what He did for you, and you don't have a part in your own salvation. When the Bible clearly says that you have to work out your salvation with fear and trembling, okay, and that faith without works is dead. Okay, but you've got these false, once saved, always saved, and this, grace theories like that, false doctrines like that, and you've got the prosperity doctrine, where if you tithe a certain amount, if you give a certain amount to a church, that you'll get 100-fold back. And so people do things not because they want to actually help the church, but because they want something in return. They want interest, okay? And that's a false doctrine as well. So, and Satan is going to use that. What he's going to do is he's going to use a little bit of truth. He's going to sprinkle that little bit of truth on a lie, and make his lie a little more palatable, so people will accept it, okay? But verse 23, "But take heed, see, I have told you all these things beforehand." See, the Lord has given us this book, this Bible, okay, that if we would only read it, we would not be deceived. We would not be led astray, okay? So, all right, so look at verse 24, "The coming of the Son of Man. But in those days after that tribulation, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. The stars of heaven will fall." That sounds like comets and asteroids. "And the powers in the heavens will be shaken. Then they will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory. And then he will send his angels and gather together his elect from the four winds, from the farthest part of the earth to the farthest part of heaven." Okay, the parable of the fig tree. "Now learn this parable from the fig tree." We've talked about the fig tree before. "When its branch has already become tender and puts forth leaves, you know that summer is near. So you also, when you see that these things happening, know that it is near, even at the door. Assuredly, I say to you, this generation will by no means pass away." This generation, what's a generation? A generation, according to the Bible, is 70 years. "This generation will by no means pass away until all these things take place." What generation are they talking about? This generation that will see the tribulation. Okay? All right, and we'll get into that more later. Okay? Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will by no means pass away. No one knows the day or hour. Verse 32. "But of that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father. Take heed, watch and pray, for you do not know when the time is. It is like a man going to a far country, who left his house and gave authority to his servants, and to each his work, and commanded the doorkeeper to watch. Watch therefore, for you do not know when the master of the house is coming, in the evening, at midnight, at the crowing of the rooster, or in the morning, lest coming suddenly he finds you sleeping. And what will I say to you? I say to all, watch." Are you watching? Okay, are you watching? Are you guys, your eyes open, looking around, You can be watching. Okay? And keep watching. And don't, he tarries, but not like we think. Okay? He's not tardy like we would, be tardy. He's long suffering, okay? He's waiting for every soul that possibly can turn to him to turn to him. He's waiting for us, okay? We may think we're waiting for him, but in reality, it's the other way around. He's waiting for us to get our hearts right because he doesn't want anyone to perish, okay? But eventually, there is a time limit. And that time limit, the last grains are running through the hourglass. You ever notice that? You ever watch an hourglass? The sand's in the hourglass, the top part, when it's like full, right? All the sand kind of drains down into the bottom part, right? And then when you get to the last like little bit left, like there's only a little bit, you notice that the sand actually moves faster through the hole. It actually moves faster through the hole. It's as if time speeds up. Okay, so it's like that now. We're at the last little bit of sand left in the hourglass. And it's like time is speeding up. Things are happening so, fast. It's before it was like, things moving at like every day there was something new coming up. Now it's like every hour something new is coming up. And sometimes even every moment there's something, new coming up. So, you have to keep your eyes open. Don't be sleeping at the wheel because he's coming back. All right, so that concludes Mark 13, and I will see you all next time. Until then, I pray that you are all blessed. I love you all. Be blessed in Yahshua's name. Amen. Bye.